Parma, city of aristocratic cultural and musical traditions, rich with precious works of art, is also the capital of good taste and fine cuisine. The Food Valley celebrates its products with food museums created to tell the history and show the value of Parmigiano Reggiano cheese, the tomato, and pasta, queen of the Italian tables, the wine of the hills of Parma, salame of Foligno, and prosciutto of Parma. In the food museums, one can find the ancient traditions, handle the tools and instruments used in food production, see important images used in communication, and above all, taste the products that contributed to making the entire Parma territory famous throughout the world. In an area rich with castles and memories of Giuseppe Verdi, in the shade of the fortress of Melilupi of Soragna, rises the museum which sings the story of the King of Cheeses, of its ancient origins known and appreciated in all the world. As early as the middle of the 1300s, Boccaccio cites it in his Decameron, and the first to guarantee its authenticity was the Duke of Parma, Ranuccio Farnese I, on the 7th of August, 1612. This date marks the beginning of the history of the certification of origin of a product, recognized today throughout Europe. Over 120 objects dated between 1800 and the first half of the 1900s, and approximately 100 images, designs, and photos from the period make up the nucleus of this museum, a literal museum within a museum, since the building itself was used for the production of cheeses for centuries. The cheese factory with its circular form and internal colonnade was built by the Prince Casimiro Melilupi in approximately 1848. It was active until 1977 and today still tells the story about the sublime art of cheese making. Of American origin, the tomato has found an adopted homeland in the province of Parma. The territory has not limited itself merely to the cultivation of the tomato, but has oriented itself also towards its processing, to the point that today the Parma area exports to all the world not only tomato-based products, but also the technology used in the conserves industry. The Tomato Museum is located inside the Court of Girola, a center of food and vegetable processing in the medieval period, now the headquarters of the Taro River Park. The park is a protected area of the Emilia-Romagna region, which takes care of this territory, where many interesting animal species and natural habitats can be found. The museum is organized into 7 sections. The history of the tomato, the development of the transformation industry in Parma, and the development of productive technology. The finished product, packing and commercial communication, with a collection of 105 cans of different brands. The development of the industrial machinery. The workers and factory life. The culture of the tomato world, with objects, citations, paintings, and recipes. Also at the Court of Girola, together with the Tomato Museum, is found the home of the Museum of Pasta. The exhibition begins with the raw material, wheat, and its characteristics and methods of cultivation. It then continues with the history and techniques of grinding, complete with a reconstruction of the inside of a real windmill, and processing. It then moves on to the real protagonist of the museum, the pasta and its evolution. From fresh homemade pasta to industrial production, with unique displays such as the inside of a 19th century industrial pasta factory and the oldest sample of industrial pasta found among the papers of the State Archive of Parma. 300 different shapes of pasta, the current technological evolution, the history of the colander, gastronomy, and graphics complete this exposition dedicated to the symbol par excellence of made in Italy food, of which Parma is the capital. In the suggestive basement and Farnese icebox of the castle of Sala can be found the wine cellar of the food museums, a sensory and experiential tour dedicated to the wine of Parma, its history, and its culture. Present and highly developed during Roman times, viticulture has left important cultural relics in the Parma area, shown by the objects, videos, testimonies, and archaeological discoveries collected and stored here. It starts from the history of the vine and wine with ancient amphorae, d'olio jars, and rare glassware, and continues with the story of the cask and bottle, the label, the cork, and the corkscrew, to the testimonies of famous people and the description of the wealth of the wine of the province of Parma. The Farnese Icebox will give guests a full immersion experience of great beauty and charm, with a 360-degree dive into words, sounds, and colors dedicated to wine and its myths. The Museum of Salame di Felino is located in the magnificent cellar of the Castle of Felino. Even though salami has been identified in a bas-relief by Antelmi in the Parma Baptistry, 13th century, it can be first traced to the Parma area in a document from 1436, in which Niccolò Piccinino, who worked for the Duke of Milan, ordered on his behalf that 20 pigs to make salami be found for him. The museum is organized into 5 sections, and the visit itinerary begins with historical testimonies of the relationship between Felino and the product that is its symbol. The second section is dedicated to gastronomy, the third to the art of butchery, the fourth tells the story of the technology of production, and the last section is dedicated to the commercialization. Langhirano, a land characterized by the processing and seasoning of pork meats, is the recognized capital of prosciutto and the ideal setting for the museum, which is located in the renovated area of the former Boario Forum, built in 1928 and historically used as a cattle market. On one side, the exhibit reconstructs the production techniques used for the precious meats of the art of salami of the Parma district, from the swine to the deli meats. On the other side, it reconstructs a sort of ideal journey through the ancient art of butchery up to the modern techniques of contemporary production. There are 8 themed sections showing photographic material, historical documents, machinery, and audio-visual productions dedicated to the territory, the varieties of pig which are important for the quality of the product, the salt and its fundamental role in nutrition, history and politics, the butchery and its ancient hand gestures, the working of prosciutto and the role of the Consortium for the Prosciutto of Parma, which safeguards and defends the quality of what is considered to be the king of salami. The food museums, arranged along the Road of Good Taste, which runs through the territory of the province of Parma, from the Po River to the Apennine Mountains, are an experience for all the senses and for all tastes. Unforgettable and unrepeatable.